Hey guys, what's up? Spectre here. It's been a while since my last Cyberpunk update, so it's time to round up the latest headlines and boil down everything you need to know. I'll be discussing the latest Keanu antics, an amazing Cyberpunk demake, and even taking a deep dive into modding. Let's begin. What we've seen of Cyberpunk so far has been absolutely breathtaking. But Barely Regal, a popular creator in Dreams on PS4, has decided to show us what the upcoming RPG would look like on PlayStation 1. Called Cyberpunk 1997, it gives us a retro look at the game, and it's just a really cool creation, made entirely in Dreams. The demo itself shows us the apartment from the extended gameplay demo, as well as the surrounding streets and market, and even has a driving sequence. While the creation is already impressive, it's only going to get bigger, as the author has announced plans to optimize it, allowing it to run better and be even larger. Sadly, it's not available for other Dreams creators to explore, but hopefully someday it's fully released. News about everyone's favorite digital ghost, Keanu Reeves, has been making the rounds again. Recently, he decided to help CD Projekt in congratulating their most seasoned devs. To celebrate 25 years at CD Projekt Red, these industry vets were gifted autographed guitars, signed by Keanu, Johnny Silverhand himself. The studio has made it a tradition to reward their employees by celebrating 5, 10, 15, and 20-year anniversaries. This year, they've all been Cyberpunk themed, and they've come in a few different forms. This is just another great sign that the in-game talent and the studio bringing these characters to life have built a great working relationship, which can only bode well for the final game. And finally, I wanted to revisit the subject of modding in Cyberpunk 2077. If you're familiar with my channel beyond Cyberpunk coverage, you know it's kind of my bread and butter around here. I love covering mods, and I've even been on modding teams myself. So with 2077 being my most anticipated game of all time, I'm also looking forward to some killer mod support. However, when you look at the past, things get a bit more complicated. In order to make guesses about the future, we first need to look at the past. And a great place to start is in 2011 with the release of The Witcher 2. This game saw phenomenal mod support from CD Projekt Red, although it took 2 years, as the incredibly powerful Red Kit modding suite would not be available until May of 2013. It allowed players to design quests, build entire new landscapes, and even plant realistic forests in just a few clicks. It was a tool lauded and loved by the community and would be the kind of support expected by that community moving forward. However, in 2015, they were in for a big surprise. CD Projekt would release a suite known as ModKit, an array of tools distinctly renamed as it was nowhere near as powerful as its predecessor, the Red Kit. It would only allow players to tinker with the game in comparison, making small quality-of-life fixes, retextures, and the like. Nothing compared to the sprawling overhauls that you'd see in something like the Elder Scrolls series. Fans claimed that they were lied to, even saying that the CD Projekt CEO had promised a Red Kit for The Witcher 3 shortly after the game's release, according to a 2014 interview with IGN. This left a sour taste in many a gamer's mouth, but with hindsight being 2020, we can look back at some statistics behind the games that will paint a more nuanced picture. The Witcher 2, the game with better mod support, sold about 8 million copies according to a sales figure from 2014, whereas The Witcher 3, a game with decidedly worse mod support, sold over 20 million copies as of 2019. The game with better mod support only has about 445 mods currently available on the Nexus, whereas The Witcher 3 and its inferior mod kit has produced over 3,000 mods in comparison, in what seems to be a story that's similar to Skyrim modding on PS4, modders making do with a limited amount of resources. However, in both cases, the most endorsed mods are still just quality-of-life fixes, retextures, and minor improvements to already solid games. So in retrospect, while players were right in being disappointed, the situation kind of settled itself. Moving on to Cyberpunk. CD Projekt has sown the seeds of hope when it comes to modding in the upcoming RPG, but they've also been much more careful about their message. The community lead at CD Projekt Red has flat out stated the studio's priorities on the game's official forums, in order to avoid a similar backlash. I wanted to elaborate on this topic, on that answer in particular. We have no plans to share at the moment. Obviously, we would love to support the modding community in the future, but for the time being, we want to focus on releasing the game first. Hopefully this clears things up a bit. While this does make things very clear, and I can understand why CD Projekt would be solely focused on release, with this being their most ambitious title yet, there's still a small glimmer of hope. Cyberpunk 2077 is built using the Red Engine 4, offering them much more powerful tools than they had for The Witcher 2 and 3. I'd imagine that mod support would be a feature that's possible with this new engine, especially with the community backlash that they faced last time around. But only time will really tell. With the Red Kit coming out a full 2 years after the release of The Witcher 2, it might be some time before we ever see powerful mod support for Cyberpunk, if ever. Personally, I'd really love to see mod support, but even if we didn't get it, it wouldn't deter me from picking up the game. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And that's it for this Cyberpunk update. Remember, all my sources are always in that description for those of you who'd like to read further. Make sure to sub for more coverage of Cyberpunk 2077, and also make sure to check out my Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and even giveaways. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.